Welcome back to Mindful Objective. This is a show where we talk about health in a way that is clear, realistic, and easy to use in your daily life. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner professor. Today we're talking about heavy metals. Here is what I want you to understand right away. Heavy metals are not just something you hear about in extreme cases or rare environmental events. They are part of our everyday life. Most people are exposed to them in small amounts regularly, and that exposure is not serious at that moment, which is why it often goes ignored. The challenge is not one large exposure. The challenge is the slow buildup that can happen over time without even realizing it. As always, this show's for educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. Always speak with a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. Now let's start with a simple question. When people say heavy metals, what are they actually talking about? So heavy metals are naturally occurring elements such as mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, aluminum. These elements exist in the environment. They are found in soil, air, water. The problem is not that they exist. The problem is how much exposure we have in our modern life compared to what our body was originally designed for. So think about your normal day from start to finish. You wake up, you drink water, you eat breakfast, you use personal care products such as deodorant, toothpaste. You may drink coffee, drive to work, or sit in traffic. You interact with your environment in ways that feel routine. Each one of these steps can involve amounts of exposure that add up over time. Fish is one of the most common sources. Larger fish tend to contain higher levels of mercury because they accumulate over a lifespan. If you eat these fish often, even with good intentions, you may be increasing your exposure slowly without even realizing it. Water is another factor. Depending on where you live, the quality of water and conditions of your pipes can influence exposure, like metals, like lead, right? Even when water looks clean, it may not be free of these elements. Water is only part of the picture. Air is another source that can happen, and it's often overlooked. If you live near busy roads, construction areas, industrial zones, you're breathing in small particles every day. These particles can carry metals and other toxins. You may not notice it at the moment, but over time, repeated exposure matters. Even something as common as sitting in traffic for long periods each week add up. Household products, that's another one we talked about in the past. Older cookware, certain types of storage containers, even some kitchen tools may contain trace amounts of metals. Personal care products are another area to consider. Some cosmetics, deodorants, skincare products can contain small amounts of metals such as aluminum. Again, this is not about panic, it's about awareness. These exposures are small, but they're consistent. Now, here's the key point that many people miss. It's not about one source. It's about total load. You may have little exposure from food, a little from water, a little from air, a little from products. Each one seems minor on its own. When combined over years, they become meaningful. Your body's designed to handle toxins. You are not defenseless. Your liver works to process toxins. Your kidneys filter waste from your blood. Your digestive systems help eliminate the body when the body doesn't need it. Your lymphatic system helps remove waste from tissues. These systems are working all the time, even when you're not thinking about it. But every system has a limit. If the amount of exposure is greater than what your body can remove, it has to adapt. One way it adapts by storing toxins instead of eliminating them right away. This is where heavy metals can begin to accumulate. These metals do not just stay in the bloodstream, they move into tissues. They may settle in your organs, in your brain, even in your cells. Once stored, they can sit for long periods of time. You may not feel anything at first. There is no clear warning sign in the early stages. Over time, though, this stored burden can begin to affect the body's function. It may not feel like something's wrong in a clear, obvious way. Instead, it can show up in small changes. You may feel a little more tired than usual. You may notice your focus is not as sharp. You may feel like your body is not responding the way it used to. This is why heavy metals are often overlooked. They build up. The buildup is slow. The symptoms are subtle at first. By the time you start looking for answers, the connection is not always obvious. That is why understanding the source of process is so important. Now that you understand where heavy metals come from, the next step is to understand what they actually do to the body. This is where things start to connect for a lot of people. Heavy metals do not usually cause one clear symptom. Instead, they interfere in how the systems work in the body. This is why people often say they feel off, but they cannot explain why. It is not one problem. It is a collection of small disruptions that build over time. So one of the main areas that heavy metals affect the body is in that increasing cellular stress. You do not feel this directly, but your body does. Your cells have to work harder to maintain normal function. Over time, this can lead to feeling more tired, less resilient, slower to recover from that daily stress. You may notice that things that used to feel easy now feel like major effort. The brain and nervous system are especially sensitive to this. Heavy metals can interfere with how signals are sent to the brain cells. This can show up as brain fog, difficulty concentrating, or feeling mentally slower than usual. Some people describe it as not feeling as sharp as they used to be. Others notice they forget things more easily and they struggle to stay focused with tasks. So your mood can also be affected. You may feel more irritable, more anxious, less motivated. This does not always feel extreme. It can be subtle, like a shift in how you handle stress or how quickly you feel overwhelmed. Over time, these small changes can affect your daily life more than you expect. So, energy production is another major area. Your body creates energy inside structures from your cells. Heavy metals can interfere with this process. When that happens, your energy levels drop. This is not just about feeling tired after a long day. It feels like your energy never fully comes back, even after you rest. So you may sleep through the night, but still wake up feeling like you didn't fully recharge. This is really common. You may rely more on caffeine just to get you through the day. You may notice that your energy drops in the afternoon more than it used to. These patterns can point to deeper issues of how the body's producing energy. Another important area is inflammation. Heavy metals can increase lower levels of inflammation in the body. This type of inflammation is not always obvious. It is not the kind you feel after injury. It's quieter, it's more constant. Over time, it can affect many systems. It can affect your joints, your digestion, your overall sense of well-being. Hormones are another area where heavy metals can have a noticeable impact. Your body relies on a balance of hormones to regulate energy, sleep, metabolism, stress. Heavy metals can interfere with how these signals are produced and how they're used. This can lead to patterns that feel confusing. You may feel tired during the day but have trouble falling asleep at night. You may notice changes in weight that do not match your diet or activity level. You may feel your stress response is off where small things feel bigger than they should. This is often where people start looking for those answers. They may think it's just stress or aging, but sometimes there is more going on under that surface. When your body's dealing with the toxic load, it can affect how smoothly these systems operate. One of the most important, often overlooked effects of heavy metals is how it disrupts mineral balance. Your body needs minerals like magnesium, zinc, and selenium to function properly. These minerals support energy production, your immune health, and many other processes. Heavy metals can compete with these minerals and take their place. So when that happens, it's not just about having enough minerals in your diet. It's about whether your body actually can use them. You could be eating well and still have issues because the metals are interfering how the nutrients work inside your body. This is one of the reasons people feel stuck even when they're doing the right things. Digestion can also be affected. Some people notice bloating, changes in bowel habits, and discomfort after eating. This is not always directly linked to food itself. It can be a sign that your body's under stress and not processing things as efficiently as it should. So over time, this can lead to frustration as people try different diets without fully resolving that main issue. So another pattern people notice is sensitivity. This can show up as sensitivity to light, to sound, to smells, or even certain foods. The nervous system becomes more reactive. Things that never bothered you before may start feeling overwhelming. So this is not always easy to connect back to heavy metals, which is why it's often missed. Important thing to understand is that heavy metals do not act in isolation. They affect multiple systems at the same time. This is why symptoms can feel scattered. When you start to look at the bigger picture, it becomes easier to see how the pieces fit together. Now we must answer, why do so many people deal with these symptoms without ever being told this is part of the problem? And the main reason is that symptoms are not specific. They overlap with many common health concerns: fatigue, brain fog, poor sleep, digestive discomfort, and hormone changes. Heavy metals are not the first thing people think about. Most people start addressing the symptom directly. They may try to improve their diet, exercise more, focus on sleep. Some people add supplements to support energy or stress. These are all good steps and sometimes they help. But if the underlying issue is not addressed, the results may not last and may only improve slightly. This is where frustration begins. You may feel like you're doing the right things, but not getting the results you expected. You may feel better for a short time, then slide back to those same patterns. This can lead people to try more and more strategies without clear direction, only going down that rabbit hole and getting worse. Another reason heavy metals are missed is the type of testing that is commonly used. Standard blood tests are designed to look at what's happening in the body at that moment. They are useful for many things, but they're not always the best tool for identifying long-term buildup or heavy metals stored in tissues. When metals are stored in tissues rather than circulating in the body, they might not appear clearly in standard lab tests. That means someone can be told everything looks normal, even if they still feel off. How many times are we told this? How many times do we have more issues? We see that, right, with, say, lab work for migraines. And then you're having experienced migraines all the time, and you're told, hey, everything's normal. When you're in pain every day, you're the one that knows your body, and you know something's not right. So this disconnect between how you feel and how your labs can go is often confusing to all of us. So because of this, heavy metals can stay under that radar. People continue to search for answers, often focus on surface level symptoms rather than those deeper paths. Over time, this can lead to a cycle of trying new approaches without fully resolving the issue. And again, it goes back to that migraine approach is how many things have we tried? How many things didn't work or we think they're working, then we try something else, then it causes more problems with migraines. You know, a certain medication, blood pressure pill that's supposed to help with migraines, and 3 days later, you're in a constant migraine that's never going away for 2 months. And you find out it's the medication. You know, it depends how sensitive people are. But then does it go back to a lot of heavy metals in the body? That's what you got to test for. So another factor is the rate of buildup, right? Heavy metals do not usually cause sudden changes. The process is slow. The body adapts at first. You may not notice anything until the burn reaches a point where the body starts to struggle more. Again, that rain barrel effect. You have a barrel, you have so much water in it, everything's going fine. Some water empties, you're doing okay. You take a supplement, you eat a certain food, you have some kind of drink. Now it's overflowing, and now you're having all these major symptoms. So by that time, it's hard to track things back to their original cause. It may feel like symptoms appeared out of nowhere, even though the process has been building up for years. Again, we don't see it. So how do you know it's there? So this is why we look at patterns over time and why it's so important. Instead of asking what's happening today, it's helpful to ask what's happening over months or even years. Another reason this topic's often missed is that people are taught to separate symptoms rather than look how they connect. For example, someone may see fatigue as one issue, digestive problems as another, sleep issues as separate. Each symptom gets its own solution, but the bigger picture is not always addressed. So when heavy metals are present, they can affect multiple systems simultaneously. This creates a situation where nothing seems to clearly work, but nothing fully feels right either. You may feel like you're always trying to fix something, but never quite get ahead. This is also the mindset that if something serious is happening in the body, it would be clear. Heavy metals do not work that way. The effects are often subtle at first. You know, the body compensates for a long time before the symptoms become more noticeable. By the time people start asking deeper questions, the connection's not always obvious because you have too much going on. The body's too complex. Again, I always go back to migraines because that's my main area here where the main problems I have is they're so complex, right? Working with so many doctors, seeing so many neurologists, seeing this. How come they can't find the root cause or how come they can't eliminate them? You know, you see all these supplements and stuff out here, again, promising certain products. Hey, this is going to help you. Even with heavy metal detoxes out there. There's so many heavy metal detox. They take this heavy metal detox. It's going to cure, you know, it's going to heal your body and stuff like that too. They don't work like that, right? It's false hope. You know, they're just selling you based on you being a victim. And it's sad. It's very sad out there. And it goes on all sides, right? All different doctors, all different medications, all different supplements, all different types of nutrition. Everything's individualized. I have taken so many medications that are supposed to help for migraines only to trigger migraines. So it's hard to find a balance. And that goes back to the heavy metals, right? Do you have heavy metals? The issue I had with heavy metals is high mercury and high aluminum, right? Where'd that come from? I have no idea. I use all healthy products. Is it from the air? Is it from food we eat? Is it from different drinks we have? I mean, it's hard to say, but it's how do you detox those? And if I detox those, do my migraines improve? You know, it's a big question mark. So it's one of those things where you have to take things step by step and do what works for you, test out your body. Only you know. Nobody else knows how you feel. Nobody else knows what's going to work for you. You have to do trial and error. And that's just from 13 years of severe migraines got me to this point. So the next step we got to talk about, and it's how we dig deeper into this. One way we do it at Mindful Objective, we focus on understanding what is happening inside the body rather than relying on guesswork. One of the ways we do this is through functional lab testing. So this type of testing examines patterns and trends rather than a single moment in time. One of the most helpful tools in this area is the HTMA test, hair tissue mineral analysis. You have to have a head of hair, though, to actually pull this test off. So one of the most helpful tools is that test when it comes to heavy metals. So because hair grows over time, it reflects what's happening in your body over a longer period of time. So this gives us a more complete picture compared to a snapshot from a single blood test, what's happening at that present time. So HTMA can provide insight to both heavy metal exposure and that mineral balance. It can show whether certain metals are elevated and whether key minerals are low or out of balance. It can also reveal patterns that suggest how your body's responding to stress and also how well it's handling detox processes. So this is important because it shifts the approach from guessing to understanding. Instead of trying random strategies, you can follow a plan that is based on what your body's actually showing. This helps reduce frustration and increase chances of making meaningful progress. So HTMA is helpful because it shows patterns rather than those numbers. When you look at the results the right way, you're not only asking a question if something's high or low, you're asking what the overall pattern is telling and how your body is functioning. So for example, you may see elevated levels of certain heavy metals. That gives us one piece of information. At the same time, you may see low levels of important minerals like magnesium or zinc. This gives us another piece. When you put those together, you start understanding how your body's responding. You may also have patterns that suggest your body's under stress or not processing things efficiently. This helps guide to the next steps. It's not just about removing metals, it's about supporting the system from a whole body for it can function better. This is where personalized approach becomes important. Not everyone needs the same plan. Not everybody will get the same plan. Again, each person, everybody is different. Some people need to focus on rebuilding first. If mineral levels are low and the body's already under stress, jumping straight into a detox can make things a lot worse. The body needs support before it can handle that process. Other people may be in a place where they begin direct support for removing heavy metals. Even then, it still needs to be done in a controlled and steady way. This is not something that should be rushed. Testing allows you to make decisions with more confidence. Instead of guessing what your body needs, we can follow a plan on what is actually showing up. This helps reduce the trial and error that many people go through on their own. So another important part of testing is that tracking process. When you have a baseline, you can see how your body's responding to over time. You can adjust your approach on real feedback instead of relying on how you feel alone. While symptoms are important, having data adds another layer to that clarity. So at Mindful Objective, we use that testing to build structured protocols. These protocols are designed to support the body step by step. The focus is not just removing heavy metals. The focus is on improving overall function of the body so it can maintain that process long term. This is what makes the process more effective and more sustainable. It's not about quick fixes. It's about building a system that supports your health over time. So now that you understand how testing works, the next step is understanding how we actually support the body. So this is where a lot of confusion arises, especially when people hear the word detox. The first step is always foundation. This means making sure your body has what it needs to function properly before removing anything. Hydration is a big part of this. Water helps your body remove waste. If you're not drinking enough, your body cannot work efficiently. So nutrition is another key. Your body needs the right nutrients to support those detox pathways. So this includes protein, healthy fats, and a wide range of vitamins and minerals. If your diet is lacking, your body will struggle to keep up with demands that you place on it. So digestion also matters. If your digestive system's not working well, toxins may not eliminate properly. This can lead to reabsorption, in which waste products that should be excreted are pulled back into the body. It's that loop. You're just bringing it right back. You think you're getting rid of heavy metals, and you're just bringing those same heavy metals back in. So supporting digestion helps make things move in the right direction. Once the foundation's in place, the next step is making sure your body can eliminate waste efficiently. This includes regular bowel movements and proper liver function. The liver processes toxins, but those toxins still need to leave the body. If elimination is slow or inconsistent, that becomes a problem. After that, targeted support can be introduced. This is where specific supplements may help bind heavy metals and support their removal. These are often referred to as binders. They work by attaching certain compounds which carry them out of the body. In addition to binders, mineral support is often important. Since heavy metals can disrupt mineral balance, replenishing those materials can help restore function. This also supports the body during that detox process. So another part in protecting body during detox, this may include nutrients that help reduce that internal stress and support recovery. The goal is not just to remove toxins, but to keep the body stable while the process is happening. One of the most important parts of the process is pacing. This is where people go wrong when they say they could do this on their own. It can be tempting to move quickly, especially if you feel like you found the root problem, been there before, but the body does not respond well to that approach. If heavy metals are mobilized too quickly, they can move through the body faster than they're eliminated. When that happens, you may start to feel worse instead of better. This can show up as headaches, fatigue, brain fog, feeling more sensitive than usual. These reactions are often a sign that the body is overwhelmed. So this is why steady and controlled approach is so important. The goal is to support the body in a way it can handle. Progress may feel slower, but it's more stable. Over time, this leads to better results and fewer setbacks. Another important part of this process is consistency. Supporting the body is not something that happens in a few days. It takes time. The body needs repeated support to rebuild, rebalance, and improve how it functions. This is why a heavy structured plan makes a difference. It removes the guesswork and helps you stay on track. Remember, at Mindful Objective, we offer different protocols: heavy metal detox, functional medicine detox, mode protocol detox. There's definitely different protocols out there. And if you feel like ordering one directly, you could just go to mindfulobjective.com and you should see I think it's under resources, you'll see protocols, or maybe it's under shop. You're free to order those different protocols directly and see if they work for you. Or, you could reach out, we could do a consultation and kind of run through the process, do the appropriate testing, see what you actually need, and go from there. So what we do overall is we support hydration, nutrition, digestion, elimination, and mineral balance at that same time. When these areas work together, the body is much more positioned to handle that detox. Also, it's important to reiterate that every body responds differently. So your body is not the same as someone else's body. They're very complex. Some people notice improvements in energy and clarity fairly quickly. Others may take more time. This does not mean the process is not working. It means the body's adjusting at its own pace. Good example, if I do a heavy metal detox, I have to start very slow. And say you're doing even Candida detox, the protocol for Candida, and say it's 3 months. It may take me 6 months because I have to slowly introduce supplements because of the bad migraines. So something to keep in mind again, just because you read what's on the box doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Sometimes you have to take things slow. That's where patience becomes part of that process. Instead of looking for immediate results, the focus shifts on steady progress. Over time, small improvements add up. Energy may improve, focus may become clearer, and overall resilience may increase. This is the difference between a quick fix and a long-term solution. The goal is not just to feel better in the short time, right? The goal is to support the body in a way it creates lasting change. You want a long, healthy life. So as we close this out, know that your body is not broken. The goal is not just to remove toxins. The goal is to build a stronger, more resilient system so your body can function again long-term. When the body is supported properly, it becomes more efficient and handles stress, processing waste, and maintaining that balance. As you move forward, keep your focus on progress, not perfection. Small, steady changes tend to lead for best results over time. You do not need change everything at once. You just need to be consistent steps in the right direction. So thank you for taking time to spend with me on Mindful Objective. Keep learning, keep listening to your body, keep taking small, steady steps forward. As always, this episode is for educational purposes only. Speak with a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine, especially if your symptoms are severe or changing quickly. I'll see you next time. Stay well.